People, deluded. Good afternoon on this Sunday evening. I'm about to go to Sainsbury's right now and Morrison's. I've got to get the cheaper things where I can. But I was on Twitter, as you do, looking at Arsenal and just reading, trying to read what I can and whatnot, and just kind of is what it is. And apparently Charles Watts has tweeted out, Arsenal have been trying for some time now to get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Lacazette to sign new contracts, but so far the talks have proved unsuccessful. Both Aubameyang and Lacazette want to play in the Champions League, so it is no surprise that right now they're keeping their options open. Now, people, what I've just said right there, whether you pay attention to the tabloids or not, is not breaking news. You look at Aubameyang's contract in particular, and also Lacazette's. They're two of our key players, and their contracts are running out, more or less. Not right now or this season, but soon. And in terms of how Arsenal want to move forward, not allowing top assets to run down their contracts and whatnot, it is a bit of a difficult situation. So whether you've been paying attention to the tabloids, or you can just look at the contract information yourself and put two and two together, while it's not news, it is of concern. We've known for a while we're trying to get them to sign new deals. For Aubameyang, like I said, he's got a lot to think about. Because of his form, there might be one last current move to a big club if they're ready to pay that ridiculous sum for him. Saying that, if his contract stuff does continue to go on, will we cash in on him for a lower fee than what you'd agree? Potentially. If that move comes and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to join one of the top teams, the top European elites, you can't begrudge Aubameyang. He's got to 50 goals for Arsenal. He's been a great signing. He's 30 now. Time is running out to achieve what he wants to achieve, and definitely minimum play in the Champions League. He's of the caliber to do that, and he hasn't been able to do it here. Moving on to Lacazette, similar circumstances. He was linked with Atletico and potentially Barcelona now. I don't think he'll start at Barcelona, but I mean, being on the bench at Barcelona and collecting them trophies and being part of that squad is better than trying to fight for the Europa, in my opinion. And obviously, I hope he does, but I don't think Lacazette is going to go to the Euros. But a move, on top of wanting to play Champions League football and what I've just said about Aubameyang, potentially if he goes to a bigger club, is there more of a case of getting in the France squad? I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate in that regards. Either way, if we look away from all of that, they're both in their prime careers, both top strikers. Why would you want to commit your future, whether you want to stay or not? Because I'm sure they're both comfortable in London, not in a funny man thing, but with each other and in the squad and being at Arsenal. But why would you commit your future, people? There's question marks over the manager, rightly so. There's question marks over the manager, management, long term, how we do things. I know they probably like our young squad. They play big brother roles and stuff to the likes of Guendouzi, but obviously, with all due respect to Saka, Martinelli and these sort of players they're going to show their greatness, but they're going to take a bit of time to develop into the players of tomorrow that we can believe that to be. So you're looking probably 2-3 years and beyond. Aubameyang and Lacazette, how old are they going to be in 2-3 years? Have they really got time for that? And they'll probably be looked to move them on anyways. We're in a difficult situation with both of them in that, obviously, with the exception of stupid money bidding for our players and speculation, you're probably not going to make your money back on either signing people, away from probably shirt sales and all of that jazz that I'm not going to speak about because that's not my thing, but and all of that jazz. But in terms of, for me, in Aubameyang's case, for Arsenal, for years we've been looking for a striker. Aubameyang, no, I think he can keep scoring goals, but let's just say he's got 3 years left in him to score goals at this elite level. For me, it would make sense to give him that contract, whether the wages and whatnot, because he deserves it and he keeps scoring goals, whether people say that's a huge outlier. But you'd have a 20 goal minimum, 20 league goal striker there. You fix up defence, you fix up midfield. Obviously, you've got many young players and whatnot to develop and whatnot. You could afford to get away, fix up your squad. You look at Aubameyang, and then you could afford to get away with a couple of years of Aubameyang aging and looking to find a replacement. But that can achieve your goals. For Lacazette, I believe Lacazette is of the caliber to get 20 league goals. But he's a good goal scorer. He gets double figures in the league. He got a lot of assists. He's a big player, and he's a good technically based player. We're spoilt for options, people, in that we've got both of them up front. I know, for me, I like to have two good strikers in the squad, but some games it does look like we should look to go with one of them potentially, someone on the bench. You know how games are, people, different games, different requirements and that sort of stuff there. So there is a case to potentially cash in on one of them. There is the case of, well, we'd be forced to sell both, in which you're in a difficult situation because how do you replace that? But where one of them potentially has to leave, and Lacazette is the younger of the two, so slightly, 28, 29, I believe, so like a year or two. So that would make sense. But Aubameyang's the better goal scorer. Is it easier to replace Lacazette potentially than Aubameyang, people? Potentially, it might be. I think people underestimate what Lacazette brings to this side. But if we look at it as cynical as possible, as a manager, looking at your squad, defenders, who's going to try to keep me these clean sheets, midfielders, this thing, strikers, and whether I'm going for top 4, staying relegation, winning league titles, strikers make the difference. If I can balance out the other areas of my squad and I've got a 20 league goal minimum striker, regardless of what people say about him, do you see what I'm saying, people? So one of the two, potentially, we might have to cash in on them, especially if the wingers keep developing and Martinelli keeps developing. We've got good balance now, and I think there'll always be good balance, but there's also that case. And also, people, you have to look at it. If we know Champions League in terms of bringing in players, keeping players, how we want to move forward as a club is vital. Apologies, this season. I want to do it through the league. Europa League, again, similar to last season, earlier than last season. We're starting to look at that like, boy, you know, like, that might be the only ticket to the Holy Grail if we continue playing like this. It's even more. If we want players to come in, if we want these two players in question, if we want them to sign new contracts, we don't even know. Obviously, a couple young players have signed new deals, and there's other key players in this squad. We don't know other players that might be having cold feet about new contracts. We don't know, because this is the time of year, people. You see all the summer moves and transfers we're going to see in years from now. I mean, in months from now, in like July and August, people. They're all being done now. Not all, but you get the point. People are at dinner and things now. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate, but football's about finer margins. Who's having cold feet due to the uncertainty over our club right now after some relative optimism a couple of months back? I don't know, people. It's a difficult one. And you look at it, from what reports say, we stand to miss out on £45 million just by not getting in the Champions League, people. If you was to sell Aubameyang and or Lacazette, I'm going to be a bit nice to us, and I could say you could replace Aubameyang's goals for 60 million, but you're probably looking at 60, 70 plus, people. I'm talking immediate goals, someone that is going to come in and score them goals immediately. I'm not talking about young G's with potential. You don't know I love young players. I'm talking about guys that, no questions asked, they're going to hit the ground running. They're far and beyond. And strikers, there is a lot of number 9s around, but you could argue there's a shortage of the top. Please listen to what I'm saying. Quality strikers, in terms of goal scoring and things like that. If you sell Aubameyang, you need to get assurances that other man is going to score goals. So you miss out. Let's just say Aubameyang leaves and we miss out on Champions League. That's 45 million gone. Aubameyang says he wants to leave. Hopefully we get a 60, 70 and that immediately is put to someone else. So you're on 100, just from messing about, we've put ourselves 100 down, 100 plus down in the drain before we speak about Lacazette. Now if you sell Lacazette, who you would hope for a 50, 60 similar fee, you might have to recoup that into other areas. I don't feel if both leave we're going to necessarily sign 2 strikers. In my opinion, I think you've got Martinelli, potentially Eddie and Tyrese are developing. Martinelli looks to be the one. He looks to be a striker long term of some sorts. I do think when one of the two do leave, people, we're going to have to bring in a top quality striker. For me, I'd say areas of long term concern would be, for me, the striker, right back, and right back really now, because if Bellerin's not there, it's a bit of a mess, and I want some competition for Bellerin. Now/long term, I know we've got central midfield prospects here and whatnot, but I do think there's a central midfielder of sorts that we need to be trying to obtain. I'm interested to see what we do with the further forward positions on the flanks, but we've got the young G's. But it's going to prove costly, people. So there's all of that, and not to say Emery out and all of these things, but it costs 6 million to get rid of Emery. Now, getting rid of Emery right now does not guarantee we're going to get top 4. For me, 24 hours ago, I was on the vibe of Emery's not looking like the man to do this thing, but I don't really want to get rid of him mid-season and write this season off without a proper contingency plan. If the people at the club and the decision makers have a plan where they're saying, all right, cool, Emery leaves tomorrow, this guy, whether he's Allegri or some unknown guy with strong footballing philosophies, he's coming in tomorrow. I'm on that because there's a plan. What I'm not on is that we get rid of Emery now, and there's this whole bookmakers race of Jose looks 10-1 to be manager, Rodgers, Wenger return, the cheeky offers, and all of this sort of stuff. I don't want that. There's no assurances in football, but I would like to know there's a sort of plan, because I do believe there's still something for this in this season to play for, really and truly looking at it. We're 10, 11 games in. We're going to drop more points. Other teams are going to drop more points. We will, on top of us not being better necessarily than some opponents, we will be our own worst enemies like last season if we don't get top 4. For me, I can break down the season for you people, and I always tell you the festive period is the strongest one. But what I don't speak about normally is the first and last race. The first 10-11 games, the last 10-11 games, give or take. We failed that hurdle last year. The last however many games with the Palaces and the away games, the last little furlong, the last race. The first race, we failed it. It was meant to be a thing where, for me, we get together. Obviously, we've had injuries, but how we want this team to take shape, there's some early signs, or we're coming into that. These 10 games, yeah, we might drop points, but we come out of that with a certain points tally, a respectable points tally. We pick up some consistency, you know what I'm saying? And then the last furlong is, okay, cool, we've done it all now through this season. Don't let it slip. Don't let all these results and times we've had to grind and question marks over us, don't let it all not be worth it, people. Do not let it all be worth it, not worth anything in that last furlong, that last, however, till May or whatever, man. Let's just say April till May. Because it's only us. Sheffield were superb against us relatively. Wolves done their thing defensively. But can we say these teams, was it a case of these teams being better than us and claiming points? Or was it several fragments of where we could have done better? Whether that's starting the game, game management, defending, not smelling blood and scoring more goals, coaching tactics, whatever, people. Because there's not too many games this season, where we've lost and you can say, alright man, that team was better than us. Give credit to Sheffield because they played us. But so far it's been a case of more us being our own worst enemies. Tactically, how we're going into games, how our intent. Obviously, XHAKA's thing is irrelevant, but it kind of sums up the circus that is this club right now, and it pains me, people. We've been fractured as a club for years now, and if we're going to get back on track, fan base, club, players, everybody needs to sing from the same hymn sheet, and we need someone that is going to bring that unity back. I hope Emery turns it around, because I don't want I don't think Emery's the man, people. I'm going to say it straight. I don't think Emery's the man. But why would I want any Arsenal manager to do poorly just because I don't think he's the man? It's in my best interest for him to get Champions League and to start winning, purely because I want to win games. I want to be able to banter my friends on WhatsApp, people. I do this YouTube stuff, so on top of my friends just being idiots, they do it even more now. Deluded, can't wait to see your vid. Did you win today? Blah, blah, blah. I don't want that. I love my club. I want us to do best. And I want Emery to get on track. But I'm starting to think now we need to go for a sort of unknown name or something. Not necessarily unknown, but let's say Jose came. Now, Jose might do terrible. He might do wrong. We all have our opinions, but it divides opinions. We need someone, potentially, if someone's unknown, you don't know about him, people. I'm starting to believe, because you don't know, fans will just have no clue but to shut up. When I say unknown, I'm not, obviously, we'd all want world-class managers, and with that, there's more confirmation that they might do well. But I don't care if it's a no manager or he's been managing in whatever country. As long as he's got a clear way of doing things, and he comes in and I see that and there's something to get behind, because I still want Emery to do well to a degree, as much as I can believe in his credentials now. I've always wanted him to do well, but it's like when people were turning on him and I'm defending him, what can I you lot know me, I keep it true, and I say what I believe. There's not much to defend Emery with, because I can't sit here and say you've improved a single player significantly. Key words, listen to what I'm saying, significantly. I can't say you've improved micro and macro fragments of this team massively to an evident degree, where if I show someone a tape from the minute you came into this club and we played our first couple of games to now, there's a difference. Of course, the players will say he's improved things, and he probably has, and I can cherry pick, but they've all relatively gone out of the window, people, and there's been question marks over Emery like never before. I want him to turn it around. At the end of the day, I don't deal with ifs and buts, because come the end of the season, it's only the facts. Whether what we did, how we lost games, and if we lost games to the point where we didn't get top 4. But if we get back to winning ways and we do things, the narrative changes. Top 4 is still there. I don't want to be speaking about the Europa League and things like that, people, already. That's a serious avenue for us, one that we're going to have to consider, in which United might the same. So it's serious, people. I mean, if Aubameyang is going to cut and Lacazette and Galore is going to cut, it's upsetting, because you don't want to see these players leave, and on top of the uncertainties and already knowing that Champions League football is vital to this club, it's even vital even more now, people. You lot know how it is, and it's not a case where teams are necessarily better than us, or like we are just shooting ourselves in the foot. I don't feel our squad, no disrespect to any of them, is amazing. Sorry, nor do I think is it. I do think some players are poor, but do I think it's of the standard where we can't put in more of a convincing fight for the top four? No, because they like with the front three alone should be making the difference ahead of some other teams. Not to place the burden on them, because as I've just said, there's other fragments of the team. In relation to Emery, people, apparently, I'm on ZR's Twitter now, another guy that does all the Arsenal information. He said, the Arsenal hierarchy are minded to support Emery for the time being, despite our run of games. It's gone on to say, even after Saturday's match, the word from the top is that there will be no movement until the end of the season. The present likelihood is that they won't take their option to extend his contract then, but they still won't take action right now. So it will be... maybe top four saves his job, but maybe they lean into the degree of, okay, Emery, whether you get top four or not, you might have to cut, really and truly. Like I said, can we get... I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I say unknown name, but someone that's not necessarily known, someone that... maybe not as extreme, but I wasn't old enough because I've only known Wenger. But the older heads that watch me, when Wenger came in, like, do you see what I'm saying? Unless you was watching Japanese football, or you knew what he did in Monaco. Obviously, the internet weren't about like that. Or they weren't. It weren't how it was now. I don't want to disrespect you, dinosaurs. Had to banter, but You kind of was like, alright, cool, I don't know, yeah, I might think he's not good enough. Some people will think he's not good enough. Some people will be taken aback by just the fact that he's new. Certain people will just not know what to think. But eventually you saw a clear way of what he wanted to do. We need someone with that. Finally, the same independent in which sources are coming from where he's relaying the Arsenal information, it said, some sources say Freddie Ljungberg is ready to step in as caretaker, but they don't plan on using that contingency. Then again, they didn't plan a return like this, even if Emery somehow intended a tactical plan like this. What does that mean? That must be in relation to that must just be his quotes from the game or something. But yeah, people, like, we don't want to... it seems somewhat like we'll just wait to the end of the season to clip him, really and truly, people. Apparently, there's some other quotes he's brought up. It said, the Times has said, Emery is said to have just 1 to 2 games of credit left with the Arsenal hierarchy as the November international break approaches. So yeah, allegedly he's on thin ice, and it's happy birthday, Emery. It's his birthday today, so this must be the worst birthday in a while, to be fair with you people, because as a football manager, I'm sure your birthdays always sucks because you can't really turn off from football, but considering the game, the way the teams have been playing, considering the question marks, you can't probably enjoy it. And I'd say for Emery, regardless of my criticism on you personally, enjoy your birthday, because it's important. Well, you can't switch off. It's important to remember you're human. It's important to remember your family and whatnot, man. Because, I mean, don't let... as much as I think Emery should step down, don't let your day be ruined today. Spend it with your family. Take a time off from football, because he's got a million things on his mind. A million things we don't know about in terms of the club on his mind. He's got to deal with all the club players and that. And obviously the criticism. And I hope... not by your post comments, Emery. I'm not going to lie. Your post-game comments surprised me. But I'd like to think, as a professional manager, similar to an athlete, you're very self-reflecting, so no one should have to tell you how poor we are right now. But yeah, people, I've got to go Sainsbury's, people, because it's 3 something now. They close at 5. It's a Sunday. I've got to hit them shops. I ain't even gonna have time for Morrison's again, because I wanted to stay here and do vids. But it is what it is, man. Thank you for watching and persisting. What can I say? Deluded. Thank you for watching, man. Get in a comment, subscribe, and do the rest, man. And it's appreciative of all the blessings you lot give me, with all the comments, all the resharing my content, watching my content, the DG Nation, when you lot, even when you lot do the people deluded in the comments, you lot make me very conscious of the way I say people now, but it's all love, man. So, people deluded. I'm out. God bless.